So let me know when you're ready, and then I'll do the countdown.
Your whole life has led up to this moment.
I know. I'm trying to visualize. All right, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm one of your hosts, Joe. With me, as always, is Tyler.
Hi.
And Ruby.
Hi.
And we are not alone tonight. Our guest tonight, she is the artist behind it, who you'll actually see all of their announcements and their guest animations and everything coming up, and various other, commissioned artworks throughout the community. Ash, thank you so much for coming on with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Now, we've had to reschedule a couple times now, but it's going to be it's so worth the wait. And thank you so much. If you don't know, Ash does not reside in the United States. She is actually overseas right now in the UK, and it is 4 a.m. for her. So thank you so much for getting up early, playing some Overwatch to wake up, and drinking some caffeinated beverages to be on with us. It really means a lot to us.
It's okay. I feel good. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, we were chatting for a little while before we started, and it was actually fantastic. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better person to hang out with tonight. You're such a joy. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Where to begin? I don't know. I feel like most people just know me from the Destiny Community Podcast, or DCP for short. And I've been doing work for them now for, I think we're on I've done 3 posters. So this June will be our 4th. So, man, we're getting on. It's a long-term relationship.
It is. At this point, it is.
Put a
right?
ring on it, DCP. Jeez.
They have. So it's a pleasure working with all those guys and gals. Or gal, it's just me and Watts. But yeah, no, it's a real pleasure. I'm excited to just be here and talk art.
Nice. Now, give us a little more background about you and art. Did you go to school for it? Have you always been passionate about art and creating?
Yeah, art's been, my whole life, since as long as I can remember. I mean, I did go to school for it, or university. I did degree in visual communications and majored in illustration, sub-majored in animation. Yeah, so it's mostly graphic design focused at uni, but even my graphic design sort of has a bit of an illustrative sort of spin to it. So yeah, it's always been, there was never a question for me about what I should do. I guess there was a moment in time where I thought should my hobby become my profession? But I'm glad that I made the decision that I did, and that it's fine. It's a good gig to have, definitely. So I'm happy with that. And yeah, I think with that whole topic anyway,
mm-hmm.
there is I don't get a lot of creative value out of, I don't know, maybe that's the wrong way to say it, but out of doing a logo. Doing a logo is so different from drawing or painting or drawing traditionally, or even doing 3D modeling or anything. It's all so different from each other that I feel you can always just gravitate your creative energy into a slightly different topic. So I love creating.
Oh, you could dive deep into the differences between graphic design and illustration.
Oh yeah, there's so many. I've actually been doing a ton of graphic design work pretty much all this month. I've done 4 or 5 logos and some other things I can't necessarily talk about, but I can't wait to get back to drawing. Honestly, DCP's thing I have to do every week is a relief when I have to do graphic design work. It's I have to take a day off and just or a morning off and just draw for a bit. Feels good.
Now,
and actually,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That with DCP, that's actually the whole reason how it started to begin with was that need to draw every week and needing to find an outlet for that. And it was sort of a bit happenstance that, I don't know, DCP came along at the right time.
Perfect.
That's nice. It sounds like a symbiotic kind of relationship.
Oh,
Like
it really
they get
is.
a great graphic out of it, but at the same time, you get your release.
Yeah, definitely. And I think nothing makes me grow more as an artist than like being forced is maybe not the right maybe not the right picture to present.
No, that is.
But like forcing myself to draw every week. Like I think we could probably all agree that the best thing you can do as an artist to improve is just to do it a lot. So that's what at the early days of DCP, that was exactly what I was trying to accomplish. That it's like I have to draw every week, because at the time I wasn't drawing at all. I had a big gap from like I finished uni, and then I started working in events, so I had nothing to do with art at all, and sort of fell off drawing for a little bit, and then got back into it when Destiny came around.
It's awesome. And it's great. And it seems to be a very common thing throughout the community how Destiny and being involved with the community in the game has actually inspired a lot of past artists to pick it up again and start creating again.
I was just thinking about that exactly. The same thing happened to me.
Oh, no.
Oh, like even Farian. Farian said it multiple times, Destiny inspired him to start creating again. And I mean, we have some artists that are watching right now that were inspired by Destiny and that create, art throughout, of this franchise that is just like an endless source of inspiration. I mean, it's an amazing, I don't want to say an oddity, but it's something special.
Definitely.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, even like with Khan and I think JoJo as well, like they also, I mean, recently, but like over the past 2 years also took back art, or 3 years, which is unreal, because I love those guys so much. And it makes like, that gives me so much joy knowing that like people who haven't created for a long time have gotten back into it and are so successful at it. Like Khan is so impressive with like, he impresses me every day with, I
love how he's breaking out of doing the usual his graphic art and emoji and doing just like the
More
illustrative pieces.
There you go. That's the way to put
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's very inspiring female characters in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious how far he's gonna take that. Like if he's gonna continue to build on his like painting skills and stuff, because he's someone where like once his mind is set on it, it's gonna just get better and better. So I'm curious like how long he's gonna do it before he's like, oh, I'm good.
I know he's not gonna stop just trying to push himself. So either he'll
that man's got
he'll keep working on that. Yeah, he'll keep working on that, or he'll move on to something else and just break through anything that comfort zones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think we know what medium you work with most, so it's digital, but what's your preferred medium that you work with? Do you like to work with anything else outside of digital?
No, actually I am trying to get back into traditional work maybe next month, but with like Copic markers and such, but I'm so nervous about it. I haven't drawn traditionally in years. Long
Not even
time.
on a napkin at like a Denny's?
Oh yeah, sure.
No. That counts.
Doesn't count.
Sure it does.
Sure. I do it all the time on Post-its, and I love them.
There is actually an artist who makes a living out of napkin drawings.
Yeah.
Well, then my favorite medium is a ballpoint pen.
Yes.
And any surface.
There's one thing I do want to ask. When you do the characters and everything and the animations, it's such a unique like style to doing them, and I love how creative each one is. I love when the announcements come up for the next episode of DCP because of how you play on each guest, and you incorporate their, not only like their Destiny character, but like armor and this and that, and so much into each one of those pieces that it's just so cool to see each one. Do you generally just like ask, the upcoming guests, like, what do they like, and doesn't that kind of build from there?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes if I'm mutuals with them, or if I ask Pope to introduce me, I'll talk with them. I usually just ask if they can send me a photo of their Guardian in like dressed to the nines in the shaders that they like, and use that as reference. Sometimes I don't ask, and I just go on their stream and just see, what they're sort of wearing. You can sort of gauge pretty quickly, like, do they like Warlock? I have gotten it wrong a few times. Like, I've drawn someone as a hunter when they're a Titan or something, and that's to be expected.
Politics.
I know. But usually I just check out their stream really quickly and sort of get a gauge for their personality. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's hard. This week we had Triple Rec on, who I've drawn so many times because he's like extended family at this point for the show. So he's easy. That was quick. Got that done really, really quickly. I knew he was a hunter. It's like, I always try, if I don't ask them, because he's a very busy guy, I'll just try and pick armor that fits with their vibe or their branding. So, like, Triple's all red, white, and black, so that was very easy. And so I try and just make sure I'm nailing that aspect of them. Other people are hard. People who don't do face cams, and that might require a lot of conversation. I've talked to Chevy a lot with that because he hasn't done a face reveal. I mean, I know what he looks like, but like trying to represent that and making sure I'm not, misrepresenting someone or putting them out of their comfort zone. So I don't know. I try to talk to them when I can, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't need to. It sort of depends on each individual.
I love it. I told you this before the show, and I was playing with a friend, Irez, last night, and I told him my goal in the next 5 years is to get a character made by you. That's my goal right there.
2 Titans and a Warlock, whoever you love more.
No, getting back at it, when you are creating, before we jump into the bulk of the show, when you are creating and you're not focusing on like, logos or whatever you're creating, what motivates you to create?
I just sort of can't imagine not doing it. I'm actually not a really big believer in motivation, in that I just think you just have to do it.
The business perspective. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. When you work from home, it can be very easy to, like, my television is right there. It's very easy to procrastinate or get distracted. So I think it's important that you just try and make it as much of a real job as you can. Like, I wake up. Actually, for when I was first starting to get into a routine, I would listen to the same album every morning, which was 35 minutes. It was Planastasia by Mort Garson. It's a very nice album to wake up to. I'd make a tea, and when the album is finished, I go sit at my desk and I work. And I would work until about 5 o'clock. And then I can have dinner and whatever. And it's flexible, so if I have to work at night, I will, but I try not to. I try and really keep a good work-life balance as much as possible. I often don't succeed at that, but I think it's the desire to, or the practice to do it as much as possible is good and healthy, and trying to take a day off or take a half day off, because otherwise I could easily just sit here all night until 3 a.m. and work on stuff if I was left to my own, I don't know, devices. And that's not good. It's not good. It's not healthy. So, I don't know. Nothing so much motivates me as much as I just really enjoy doing it.
That's great.
So for your artwork, how much brainstorming goes in before you actually like physically start a piece?
For DCP, very little, I would say. I would probably give myself 15 to 20 minutes of watching streams, watching clips, going through people's photos. So much stalking happens researching for DCP. It's like my photo gallery on my iPad is screenshots of people's Twitter. It's people would be concerned if they saw it. Anyway,
it's like she works for the CIA or something.
Yeah, just screenshot,
or should be on a watch list. One or the other,
right?
Maybe. And then because I'm trying to get different angles of people's faces, and sometimes that can be difficult when a lot of times, and everyone's sort of guilty of this, of like always posing the same way when they take a photo, and so it's like that doesn't help me. I need 3-dimensional. That's why I love going to people's streams. It's like the best. Getting video footage of people is like the easiest way of getting reference. It's so good. But then
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's actually
I would say
a pretty
about
good
20
tip there too.
Yeah, it's really good. It's because I've had to redraw whole portraits before.
No.
I've finished and I'm like, doesn't look like Dr. Lupo. Something about it doesn't really look like Dr. Lupo. And then so I start again. Because sometimes it's hard because you do your sketch and then you do okay, this looks fine. And then you do the line art and you're like, oh, okay, I can sort of tweak this. And then you get into the final like sort of cell shading aspect and it's like, oh, doesn't quite look like them. And then you redo the shading and it's like, no, there's something fundamentally wrong about like the like angle of the head that I've drawn that just doesn't quite sell it. Because sometimes and nothing hurts more than when people say like, is that supposed to be? And it's like, oh fuck. Just like, oh no. I just like, oh, I stuffed up so bad. So yeah, I've done whole portraits again, tried to grab new reference, tried to find out, okay, what was it about this angle that wasn't working? And it's like, oh, okay, so like their jaw, like it's hard to toe the line of like, I guess being stylistic with it, being not too harsh either, like somewhat flattering, but not so much so that it then, by being so flattering, you're making a statement. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And just like lots of things, but like also like some people are just really hard to draw. I find Dr. Lupo quite hard to draw. I think I finally got a handle on him now, but someone else I forget. But like they kind of have like a baby face. He looks like a man. Yeah, it's like this, like it's like just like trying to work out how much of this is. I don't know. It's a baby face. It's so hard to draw. You can't swing it too far in either direction, and then it stops looking like them altogether. So there's been a few times or a handful of times where I've had to redraw. Yes, Fallout. Eric,
I was going to say, I'm like Fallout.
Fallout, yeah. Oh my god, that I love him dearly though, so I try extra hard. But whew.
I love how Babyface gets mentioned and Fallout comes up immediately.
Oh,
but like when he's 60, he's gonna still look like he's 20. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. He's gonna age really well.
There's plus sizes to it.
How long does a portrait usually take you?
If I'm struggling, it can take a while. And sometimes it does. But usually it's around, I want to say 2 to 3 hours from start to finish. Like from researching, sketching, finishing, bringing it over to the PC. I draw everything on the iPad, then I bring it over to the PC and do like just the Photoshop stuff for like putting it into the template, that sort of thing.
Nice. That's not bad at all, though.
No, sometimes it can be. Sometimes if it's not working out, it can be long, and that's really frustrating when you know how quick you can do it, and it's just not coming together. But that's like, I don't know. That's art in a nutshell. It's really hard to predict sometimes when you're not vibing. I'm trying to think of a recent example where it just was not working. Or sometimes, like, I fuck the armor up. Sorry, I said I wouldn't swear.
You're fine. We're rated R.
It's after dark.
It's after dark.
Exactly.
F-bombs on the table. I'll refrain, though. Yeah, just but it's, I'm much quicker than I used to be. I think I'm pretty happy with the improvements I've made over the past 3.5 years. But the time frame has gotten shorter, and I think the quality's gotten a lot better. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it.
That's so
the first year was, oh gosh, it used to take me all day. I hate looking at it now. It's so painful for me. People have been posting stuff recently on Twitter, and it's throwbacks. It's no, I don't want to see it.
They're still proud of it.
They like it, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Back then, were you still using iPad, or have you changed tools since then, or do you still?
Yeah, I used to use the tiniest Wacom, like a Wacom Sketch or something. It was like an A5 piece of paper. It was small. It's because all my stuff keeps breaking. And so it was, when you have work to do, it's I have to buy something today. This broke today. I have to buy a new thing today. And sometimes you can't, drop a couple $100 on new new hardware. So I just bought the cheapest, quickest thing. It was $50, I think. And it came with Clip Studio Paint, which I absolutely adore. So I used to use Photoshop, and then I've completely switched to Clip Studio Paint. And then Clip Studio Paint came out on the iPad, and I was ooh, this sounds interesting. Because I was initially going to buy a massive Wacom, Intuos, or I was saving up for it, and then the iPad came out, and I saw some really good reviews on it, and that Clip Studio Paint is a really good port, and all that turned out to be true, and I'm in love with it, and I could not advocate more for the iPad and how freeing it feels to not have to sit at the desk, or to because I do travel back home to Australia at least every year. I work when I'm there. I just take the iPad and borrow my mom's laptop if I need Photoshop, but it's unreal. I love it so much, and Clip Studio Paint works so well on there.
So far, everybody I think that we've brought on that's mentioned non-desktop software has advocated for that iPad. But you are, I think, the first who has advocated Clip Studio on iPad. Yeah, you'll be the first there.
Procreate's good too. What I enjoy about Clip, when you do something like DCP and it's a consistent style, not having to change that midway through is, I guess, a level of inconsistency that I'm not particularly happy with. So I would want to stay with Clip Studio Paint for DCP related projects. I have used Procreate for other things. I drew something for Datto sometime last year, and that was all in Procreate. I like the brushes there. It's a good app. I really enjoy it. But with Clip Studio Paint, I really like that the interface is all complicated and there.
Like the desktop app.
Yeah, it is like the desktop app. It's exactly like it, and I just really love that my workflow doesn't have to change. I don't need touch. I don't enjoy touch controls much. Using different swiping things to erase stuff, that annoys me. I like to just use the pencil. I find it quicker. So I think it doesn't lag. I draw quite big on there. I think my canvases are somewhere between 5,000 pixels in diameter or so, or 300 DPI. So it doesn't lag with multiple layers. I mean, I don't know if I could ask for much more for an app, and it's super affordable. Of course, Procreate's free or one-time purchase, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Clip Studio is a subscription base, but they've changed it to you spend $25-$30 a year on it for the yearly license.
Oh, that's not
or
bad.
Maybe that's the deal I'm on. It's not bad.
Yeah.
No. When you work professionally anyway, that's not
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. If I could get rid of Adobe, I would. But right now, I can't. Illustrator is the grip. If you do graphic design, it's pretty hard not to use Illustrator. So there's other things out there, but right now, I don't quite think they're competitive enough.
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm hoping, because Adobe's, oh man, painful. It's painful.
You don't have to say anything. We all know.
Yeah, we all know.
Have you tried Illustrator on the iPad yet?
I haven't much. I have tried to use Affinity Designer, which is the biggest competitor, I think, to Adobe software. There's something about using a stylus that I can't use. I don't like, I guess. I don't like, I feel like it's too inaccurate for doing logo work. I'm sure there's a way around it, but I much prefer just using a mouse.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I had someone explain it to me one time with like Illustrator versus, or like vector art versus painting. And they were saying like vector, think of a mathematician, and then painting is like a creative writer.
Yeah.
And they just don't mix.
Not well. I mean, it's always painful when people are like, oh, can you do a t-shirt design? And by people, I mean Popo. And and I'm like, is it gonna wait, how's this gonna be printed? Like, I need to know, because this is gonna be vector, and that means I can't even start before I know, because vector work is, I don't enjoy it particularly, but
Ruby, just so sad.
I love vector. It's my baby.
Oh, do you really?
I do. Yeah.
I just I don't mind. It just takes so long to do anything. Like, I've tried using, like, really trying to draw it in raster format and then bring it over using live trace, but I don't like how it looks. It's the perfectionist in me is like, no, I have to draw it from scratch in vector. So
see, what I like doing is I'll use my tablet and use the brush tool to create organic shapes, because I draw cartoons mostly, and that's what I use Illustrator for.
That's true. So, very shape oriented.
So using those brush shapes, and then I just convert those shapes into, I convert those paths into shapes, and then I delete all the points inside and make them solid shapes and refine them. And I just find because it would otherwise seem kind of line heavy. It cuts down a lot of time for me. I hate doing line art in raster.
Oh, dear, it's like my favorite. Oh, it's not true. I don't know, but like I enjoy it. But then that's been a process for me too, because I used to hate doing line work, and then I decided like, oh, you don't actually have to, like, no one cares. Like, you can be rough with it, rougher than I was allowing myself to, like a little bit more sketchy. And gosh, I used to get horrible hand cramps, like horrific, because I used to press so hard, because I used to do that sort of one line stroke to get the weight, and then if it didn't look good, I would just undo and redo it, and I stopped doing that. It was just not good for my physical well-being. So I've changed up how I do line work, and it's so much better. No more strain. So much quicker. No one cares. It's very good. People don't care. It's amazing, like, how much you have to get outside of your own head with, like, that line. Oh, it doesn't look. No one's noticing. People only see the full picture. It's okay.
That's why I like moving little dots around the screen when when I'm not happy with one line. I just have to edit those dots, and I'll be happy much sooner.
I will say that is good. I love doing logo work in Illustrator, like even like illustrative logos. It's more the stuff. I do a lot of work with Advanced GG. I've drawn MTash and Mr. Fruit for their label, which is pretty much the same, or like a modified style of the style I do for DCP. So it's like it's adapting raster stuff, or when I have to do t-shirts, and it's like, oh, I just wish it could be raster. God, it would be so much easier if I could just draw it and it'd be done. I was like, no, I have to sit there. I can't fix every little dot.
Are you coming down to GCX this year?
I hope so. Yeah. I haven't bought a ticket yet, but DCP does have a few hotels, so that's kind of covered. Hopefully, right. I don't know. I can share a bed with Briar. I don't know. But I'm hoping to. Yeah, it's expensive. It's really expensive, and
travel is.
If I was to sell stuff, I would have to get a different visa. So I don't know.
Gotcha. That's right.
Do you have to get a different visa if you're selling stuff?
You need
just for a convention?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still different. Yeah, I can't mess with that stuff. Like, I can't take risks because I have or the equivalent of a green card, so as an expat. So I don't like to mess around with any of that stuff. I try and take it as seriously as I can. So I don't know. I could probably find a loophole in which that DCP sells my work like, because they do the poster anyway, so if I did create something for it, it would be at the DCP booth, but that would be about as far as I would go.
Right.
But I really hope to go, because I went to Guardian Con 2018. Yes. And I loved it. I sort of regret actually not spending enough time with the artist community, because I got very, I don't know, self-conscious and had a lot of anxiety. It was very overwhelming. So
everybody's so accepting and just friendly.
Oh, everyone's so lovely. I spent some time with Khan and Cobb and Ian and Emma as well, and I love them all so much. They're so wonderful. They're such wonderful people. But
it can be intimidating meeting people. Like, you speak to them. It was
just also like, yeah, it's being pulled in multiple directions, because I, having responsibilities with BCP, and I was a bit shocked at that. I didn't know you spend so much time on it and with it that you forget that it's kind of popular. That I was like, oh, people watch
it's kind of popular. 10 people listen to it a week.
So I was a bit shocked, I think, seeing people at the booth there. And then my clan came from all over America to be there. So I wanted to spend time with them too. So, I spent a few times, like, went out lunch with those guys. I love Dealey. They're wonderful. And then after actually the convention, I went up to Ohio to stay with, like, I don't know, my friend from my clan, which was such an unreal experience. Like, so Columbus, I spent a week in Columbus. I just like that I went to America for the first time, and I went to Florida and Ohio. Just like, I don't know.
Hey,
the real authentic experience.
Did you go to Disney World though?
No. Yeah, I kind of want to go this time, but I'm sort of thinking I want to maybe go to Seattle after. So,
ooh, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can probably stay with Watts.
So like nice starkly different from Florida as well.
Yeah, that's the hope. Not to drag on Florida too much, but oh my god, the weather there.
Oh yeah,
I would leave the convention to go have a shower. Multiple times I did that. Yeah, I was just like, I can't here. And it's not like I have no problem with heat. I'm Australian. It's like heat's fine, but it's a dry heat in Australia, and it's the humidity is insane. And
you walk off that plane, those doors open out of the terminal, and it's just like hits you in the face.
It's still humid in Seattle, but
not that bad.
It's colder.
That's humid though.
It's colder. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I wish I could go in like the autumn. That would be nice, like cooler weather.
See, my goal is to get down there my goal is to get down there with everybody, but one of the days I'm going to sneak away, and it's not to go to Disneyland. It's to go to Harry Potter.
Yes.
Harry Potter.
I would be done with that.
Yep. I've
been to the one in Japan.
I forget Universal's out there.
There's one in Japan?
Yeah, I went to Universal in Osaka. It was really cool.
No way.
We had someone in the group who was like a massive Harry Potter fan. So like that was so much fun to see. Like, I read all the books and I really love the series, but like they were massive Harry Potter fans. Really cool to see, like, I don't know, them get so excited, even though they've been there multiple times themselves. So it was cool.
3-year-old has a wand, and like the Harry Potter movies are playing. We all have houses and everything. Like,
what house?
My wife, I'm Gryffindor. My daughter is Slytherin, and my wife is Hufflepuff. And I look at my 11-year-old and I go, that makes so much sense. No, she's a doll, but no, she got Slytherin house. I think she deliberately kind of fudged her answers on like getting the house picked.
Yeah. What's your favorite color? Green.
Yeah, for real. For real. No, I love Harry Potter. Our whole house.
Yeah, I nearly bought a wand. Because the wand was called Ash, and I'm like, that's me. But they're quite expensive. I mean, everything's expensive at like those theme parks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Buy a
I just can't
t-shirt, it's
justify
$40.
it's like, what am I going to do with it once I have it?
You're gonna put it up on a mantle and be like, you know how much that wand costs? It's an heirloom at this point.
If you have a Oculus Rift, you can actually do like magic and stuff with it. Well,
no, you can do
like
magic
virtual
in the theme parks with it. Like when you buy
that's what I've heard.
thing,
Yeah,
That's
like
right.
you can do things in the park and it'll reveal things, dude. Talk about interaction. I mean, that
does sound pretty cool.
I caused another derailment. I apologize.
Fine.
Listen, Harry Potter's art.
You're darn right it is. And Fantastic Beasts are freaking gorgeous.
Love that one.
Both of them are awesome.
I actually really enjoyed that more than the original first 3 films.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I thought the how they created that world off a 25-page like short like field guide is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. For me, that's like my ultimate plane movie. Like, I don't watch a lot of films, but like, I don't know, that's like perfect for the plane experience. Though maybe not because of maybe seeing the CGI and not a teeny tiny screen, but I don't know, there's something about that film. I'm like, this will pass the time.
Highly satisfying.
It sounds like a drag, but it's not. I meant it sincerely.
Now, it'll be cool bringing us back in. We were talking about, Gamma brought up, we were talking about GCX. Going from Guardian Con to GCX this year, I'm actually thinking personally that this is going to expand on artists and the Artist Alley to incorporate other franchises outside of the Destiny community.
Yes.
Totally, yes.
Bring them in, and that would be so cool.
Yeah.
I know Warframe has attended. I can't remember the studio name for the life of me ever, but the franchise Warframe's been down there for the last several years, at least 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see more Warframe community artists and fan art come into that because let's face it, it's they're gorgeous characters, gorgeous armies or armor sets. Like, they're absolutely amazing. And every time I see like fan art pop up for it, it's gorgeous. And Jake did it. Did a commission piece. A commission piece between a Destiny Guardian and one of the Warframes.
Nice.
Next
it
to
looks
each other.
So good too.
Oh, it does.
Like, he did such a good job of like blending both like within his style, but like making it so harmonious with each other, like 2 different franchises next to each other, and it like, oh yeah, it's all working beautifully.
Yep. It came out gorgeous. How do you guys feel about GCX and expanding more for community, not just the Destiny community, but gaming community artists, come in there?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like,
it's
as much as
exciting.
I love Destiny, but I love what that community is doing even more, which is helping, it's helping kids. And the fact that they're bringing in others from the community is it's a positive experience for gaming. And that's something that gaming needs, especially with the rep it gets online,
Oh, yeah.
My only hope is that the other developers are as understanding of it, because Bungie's super lenient with their fan art base, like compared to how they could be. And there are some developers like Nintendo, like if you do fan art for them, it's like gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Disney is another good example. If you do anything Disney, they slap copyright infringement on it so fast.
Do a Baby Yoda right now. So speed record, how fast they get that thing taken down.
Yeah, so I'm hoping with it becoming more, broader in terms of like not just focusing on Destiny, but just gaming in general. I hope other studios kind of follow suit with allowing fan art to be sold and doing it, because I'm pretty sure most of the artists donate a portion of what they make there to the charity afterwards.
A lot of
which
them
is
do, yeah.
That's what I mean. I don't I don't think any artist that goes to sell there isn't thinking about what they're going to donate as well. So it's just good that, like I said, Bungie's been so lenient on like fan art production and selling it.
I could see other indie studios probably doing it then.
Definitely a bit more understanding, or a little bit more in touch with the community. I hope it certainly starts a trend. It's very exciting too. It's also, I think, we all like Destiny, but I think everybody likes games in general. So it's always exciting to see different things and being introduced to different artists too. That'd be unreal.
Yeah, I would love to meet others. We're so close knit, you know.
Definitely.
Oh, speaking of other developers that will probably be there, I bet you Apex.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good bet.
Because they have a huge fan art base as well. I was surprised, actually. I came across the Discord server for it the other day where I was like, whoa, I didn't know this existed.
I quite like Apex too, so that would be fun.
They just released
the characters are super cool, yeah.
Yeah,
they're all
season
just
4
different.
It's coming out. It's nearly a year since it came out.
Yeah, it's an EA game though. Isn't it? I think.
What?
Wasn't it published by EA though?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Let's see. Respawn Entertainment.
EA.
And
yeah,
EA.
it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it, to be honest.
They've been pretty cool about it. But that could be because EA maybe is taking a backseat and Respawn's more cool with it. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's possible.
EA was also like under the gun with the gaming community, so maybe they're like, let's not piss them off more right now.
That is true.
Yeah. Right now, Blizzard's taking the focus off them, so they're out of the clear. No, well, actually, Apex is, like Ash was saying, they're in season 4. Fortnite's been out for how long? And like their latest season, I think, is only like, I don't even think they're up to season 4, are they? I know their latest one got delayed a couple weeks, so they actually pushed theirs back even farther. That game, I can't even turn that game on anymore. I played it for a little bit, and it's like, I can't even. Apex is like the only thing I can throw on outside of Destiny and like a one-player game. I do want to try Doom, though. The new Doom Eternal.
Oh, me too.
That looks pretty good. Yes.
Somebody posted a video, like the opening, like just playthrough, like for like 10 minutes. Oh, come on. That looks so awesome. I'm really looking forward to jumping into it.
Agreed. It looks so good.
It's like Master Chief went to hell.
For real. Well, this is like Master Chief's dad, if you look at him like this is Big Papa, or Big Daddy or whatever coming through.
Oh, geez.
This guy set the bar for Master Chief. But how many people got that, like, the association between the two? Like, when they see Halo, they're like, that's just the Doom guy. It's like, no, it's not. This is Master Chief. Yeah. Doom guy. No, but how do you manage your time between everything?
I don't even know how successfully I do it.
Spoken like a true artist.
Well, with DCP, is it sort of a specific time I tend to upload things by. So as long as I get it done by like Tuesday evening, which will be for America Tuesday morning, then it's all good. So I'll either do it on Monday or I'll do it on Tuesday, depending on how busy I am. So I don't know. I guess I just for DCP it's easy because it's quick. It's whatever. I do this every week. No worries. It's trying to manage everything else because every month is so different from each other, and I get a lot of requests, and I often can't take them. So that for me is maybe the hardest part of doing what I do, is that I feel, the need to wanting to do portraits for everyone. And I wish that I could, but it's just not practical to do it. And I want to say like, yeah, we'll do it. No worries. I'll set it up. Let's go. And then I don't actually have the time, or, it's like in your head, you're like, yeah, I could do that. No worries. And then it's like, yeah, actually, I'm very stressed. Many worries.
Because this is, a part of, income and, some of your professional work you do, but the other like graphic art stuff that you do, like trying to I don't know how you do it. Like literally manage doing that, doing DCP, eating dinner, doing laundry, remembering to go in the grocery store. Like,
I just don't do the laundry.
That's the trick right there. Let me
dry cleaning.
Dry cleaning.
What I do like though, because I'm like, I've got many different hats, so to speak. I do like that the variety keeps things fresh. Like if I'm having trouble with like some logo work, it's like, maybe I should do some DCP work because that's comfortable and familiar and quick, and it makes me feel like I've accomplished something, and then I can come back to what I was working on prior with like fresh eyes and fresh perspectives. So
right, it disconnects you from that. Yeah,
sometimes mixing it up for me like just really helps on all fronts. So I like to do multiple things at once. I think usually I have 3 or 4 projects going on at once.
Wow,
it's
that's awesome.
It always feels really good to send things away. Like that's such a relief. But sometimes with time management, I think the best example of the worst time management I've had was recently I've done an album cover for Tefty and Memes' second album.
Mm-hmm.
That we talked about that when I was in Japan last year. I was working on that in Japan last year. It was supposed to be for their first album, and it was not coming together. I pitched them a concept and they loved it. And I just couldn't make it work. I maybe redrew it 4 or 5 times from beginning to end and scrapped it all the time. A large part of that was because I think I was trying to accomplish something that wasn't me. Like I was trying to push myself, but at the end, the result didn't feel like my work. And then I had to people like your stuff because it's your stuff. So like bringing it back, but you learn things when you lay it out like that. But man, that took me half a year to do. So, I mean, yeah, it can be bad sometimes, but I think you only grow as an artist if you try and push yourself, and pushing yourself sometimes results in duds, and you just have to live with that, and that's fine. I'm happy with how it turned out anyway, so that's all that matters. I got there in the end.
It's not a race, it's a marathon. Pace yourself.
Do you have any other interests, like just hobbies off to the side when you do? Maybe that might help you break up the monotonousness of if you start feeling like art is too monotonous sometimes.
I mean, I guess gaming is technically my hobby. So everything feels a little bit close to home right now, which is why I've set myself some goals for 2020 where I want to learn how to do 3D modeling in Blender.
Ooh.
And I want to try and leave Sundays for traditional work.
Okay.
We see how that goes. But just sort of like breaking up what I currently do even more into and trying to learn new skills, and we'll see. I've got an idea for a project and I'm a bit worried about being completely in the dark with it, like not knowing anything. But sometimes for me to learn a new skill, I like to have a goal as opposed to just doing multiple tutorials, like having something specific I want to accomplish and then like looking up tutorials based on my specific goal. So we'll see how that all works out. I'm not sure, but it'll be fun to learn anyway. But besides that, hobbies is pretty much gaming. So I'll take the time to play new games, particularly. Like I just recently played Control. That was a Game of the Year contender last year, and that was unreal. And plus, the art in that was so beautiful, like very inspiring. And the graphic design was really cool, and there's a really good level in it, and it was hard at points. So, like, yeah, it felt good. It felt good to not also, like, sometimes I guess why I don't play that much Destiny or as much as I used to is because it feels a little bit like work in that I'm so involved with Destiny and DCP and all of that stuff that sometimes it feels like, oh, okay. Like I log in so many times just to look at armor references and I don't know. And then I'll play a Crucible match or something and I'll jump into something. But sometimes it feels a little bit too close to home.
It's good to play other games and to do other things and disconnect yourself even from a lot of people love, certain franchises and games, but it's good to branch out and play something else because when you come back to that, you're going to have that twinkle in your eye again for it. Like, oh, I missed this. Oh, everything looks so good. And you're going to, geek out over it again. I mean, it doesn't lose that spark where if you play it every day or like so often, it's the only game that's in your tray. It's going to feel like work in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't know how people do only play one game. And some people like playing that way, and that's completely valid and fine. Mm-hmm. But I need the variety. I think also because for me, games is my favorite medium to analyze. Like, why does this feel so good? Or, like I think the harmony between gameplay, art, and music, and when that all comes together, it's really magical. Like, it's definitely like, if you're a film guy, then I'm definitely a gamer girl. So I like playing narrative-based games and different things. So I'm excited. I recently bought a Switch, so there's a whole new plethora of things to discover there. So I'm excited.
Have fun unlocking all 5,000 characters in Super Smash Brothers. Seems like that's never ending. What?
Only 20 of them Fire Emblem. I like Fire Emblem, so I'm cool.
I'm cool. I'm good.
I'm good. I love Fire Emblem.
Go ahead.
Sorry, just speaking of Smash Brothers, I noticed that they're doing a Firefox film potentially. Firefox is a character in Smash. Yep. Well, he's also his own game, but who is it?
Oh yeah, I do know about that. Yes, I remember.
I forget what director it was. It's a big director though, and he was the one that wanted to do it. Now I have to look it up.
I mean, for like a movie?
Yeah, like a Firefox movie.
Well, Mortal Kombat I think comes out next year too, but
what? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
totally. I love the first, like the old one.
The one from 1995 that was like the era of how bad can we make this adaptation of a video game into a movie? Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. It's classic.
It was good.
You know what? I enjoyed Super Mario Brothers too.
Yep.
With John Leguizamo. Come on, man.
No. Don't name drop me.
Excuse me. So usually, roughly around this time, I'll ask artists for a fun fact. And I don't mean to put any of you on the spot, but usually this does put you guys under the spot. Do you have a fun fact for us? Anything you might have come across? It does not have to be at all art related, just random.
I was thinking about this, and I came to the realization that I have horrible memory recall. So, like, in the context of like researching stuff and like, going down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
I don't retain any of that information. Like, I know I've looked at swords or whatever, and I've looked at things, and it's like, okay, this is what a gun, this is the anatomy of a gun or anatomy of a sword. And then I just do not obtain it. But it did get me thinking about like sort of my search history. And
you look into
some of the stuff you have to type in when you're looking for reference is like insane. Like last year I had to I was doing something for True Vanguard's wife. She wanted to do a commission for her husband for Father's Day, and I had to draw him and his 2 kids. And I was like, okay, they're gonna I'll do like a water gunfight. So it's sort of Destiny related, but it's very PG. And then so they were like in summer clothes. It was a summer vibe, and it's like, okay, I've never drawn children's feet before. I don't know if I've ever drawn feet before. And then I have to draw children's feet. And then you have to go into search engine and you're like, oh God, I'm going to have to type in children's feet. Like, that's scary to begin with. And then it's like, oh, I have to be specific. I need to know what an 8-year-old child's foot looks like, or like a toddler's foot. How do you type that and be a sane person? I don't know. It worked out. I learned how to draw feet. But good Lord. Just...
I'll take a good story like that over a fun fact, though. Just
I was about to say,
I'm glad.
Pair that with her screenshots of people's Twitters.
Yeah,
and that wanted list is starting to
coming.
look real weird.
I love it. You're not alone, though.
Why she have 8-year-old's feet?
Oh.
It's important. I had to draw it.
Yeah,
Don't you understand?
not a creeper, I promise.
All these screenshots of children, it's for art, I promise.
See, I had a child just so I had reference.
Yeah, that's a good reason. That's a quality reason. I should consider that.
Wow. Actually, I do want to jump in on the fun fact bandwagon because I learned a really neat one the other day, and my wife's uncle was a fire chief in Syracuse, Engine 1 of Syracuse Fire Department.
Wow.
And we got in the conversation of fire hydrants because I saw somebody tinkering with one down where I was working. And he goes, fun fact for you, Joe. He goes, they don't know who invented the fire hydrant because the patent for it burned in a fire.
That's unreal.
And
I Googled it. True story. That's the fun fact that I had.
Aww.
I've been holding on to
unreal.
it
That's
all
a good
week.
fun fact.
Could like anyone claim the patent then?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Better file one now.
I made it.
That's you know what I
It's
mean.
like the happy birthday song, you know. No, that's
Yeah, I
it.
forgot about the happy birthday song.
Yeah, there's actually a patent on that, or trademark.
I'm not allowed to sing it.
There's a trademark on the happy birthday song.
There is a trademark
yeah.
on it.
Are you serious?
Somebody owns it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Technically,
ridiculous.
we're all supposed to be paying this guy royalties, but
It's a cover. It's fine.
I'm gonna change some words.
I
Remix
think
it up.
everybody does.
Yeah. Happy day of birth to you.
Boom, done. Put a patent on that one.
Yeah.
Or trademark. Well, I think actually that brings us into our 60-second challenge. We haven't done it in a few episodes, but we're bringing it back for this episode. And I actually gave Ash the choice if she wanted to do it or not, and she was, of course I want to do it. So it's really exciting to bring it back. So we're if you're ready, Ash, we'll jump right into the 60-second challenge.
I just need a sec.
Sure. Now, if you're just tuning in for the first time, a little fun thing that we'd like to do with our guests and artists that come on is it used to be a 30-second challenge. So apologies to all the early guests. It is now a 60-second .2, sketch challenge. And essentially what we're going to do now is ask people in the live stream chat to suggest a couple subjects or a few things to draw for Ash to draw for this challenge. Anything at all. Tyler, Star Fox doesn't count.
Dude, I feel I'm just gonna take this moment correcting myself. I kept saying Firefox and not Star Fox. Star Fox is the movie, not Firefox. Special moment right there.
Were you really saying Firefox?
Yeah. See, like you didn't even notice because you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, well, like context is important.
All right. Well, if
good times.
we'll give it a minute for anybody to throw out a suggestion. We've had really wild ones in the past. We've had ninja hamsters, you name it, anything together. A DJing turtle was one.
I want Knuckles eating a hamburger.
Knuckles eating a hamburger.
Like the echidna?
Yeah.
Knuckles the echidna? Yeah, I can do that.
Is that what we're going to go with? All right.
I mean,
I'm down with that.
Unless chat comes up with something better.
Chat's pretty quiet right now, so I think we're going to go with that.
All right. Should I? I wonder if I can. No, but I don't think you guys can see much anyway. It's so bright.
Oh, you can feel free to just, sketch it up and then hold it up afterwards. And we'll actually, if after we're done, you can actually send a copy to any of us and we'll post it. And so everybody can get a good look at it, how creative and awesome it's going to be in 60 seconds. Ruby, you have the stopwatch?
Yeah, so I'll go 3, 2, 1, go, and you go. And then I'll give you a warning when you are halfway and then when you have 10 seconds left. Yeah?
Okay.
So let me know when you're ready, and then I'll do the countdown.
Your whole life has led up to this moment.
I know. I'm trying to visualize. All right. I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Actually, this is pretty fitting. Doesn't Sonic come out next month?
Forgot about the movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
What's this fool look like?
I'm just excited for Terry.
You know what? I am too. Because you know what? He's been out of stuff for a while. And
he's like the perfect fit for the character.
He's like super salty though. Like
30 seconds. Sorry.
Like hearing him in recent like interviews, he's very serious now. But I think he just wanted to get out of that like stereotype.
Maybe. It's okay.
Going to petition against
10 seconds.
We need the music from Countdown for this.
5, 4, 3.
I'll edit it in if you can get me an MP3.
Done.
It's not great, but
it's not bad.
Wow, actually, that's pretty awesome.
That is Knuckles eating a hamburger.
60 seconds.
He does not look much like Knuckles, I will say. Kind of like you forgot what he looked like midway through.
You nailed the hair.
That mullet, that good echidna mullet.
Yeah.
I will.
Nailed the mullet.
He's got the cute little snout.
It should be. I'm upset at myself because Knuckles was like my jam when I was a kid. I would rent that damn game from Blockbuster. Like my brother used to get so annoyed because we had to like only rent one game like a week, if lucky. And then I was like, let's get Sonic and Knuckles again. He's like, no.
He's like, never again.
I couldn't even get past like the second level.
He's like, you never let me play Knuckles, so no.
Blockbuster.
You can pull a Clinton and rework it after the show and send it in and then have it be a masterpiece.
Put them upside.
Yeah, I could do an additional.
That was awesome.
So ridiculous. It went from like a silhouette to like this fully fleshed character.
That's unreal. He's insane.
Yeah, the funny thing was while he did the quick, it was a 30-second, and in 30 seconds he did what I couldn't do in 3 hours. And while he was talking with us while we were closing the episode, chatting, closing it out, he continued to work the same piece and never stopped. And then the next morning he sent us hey, I did this, just refined it. And, I put the phases in, and it was like disturbingly gorgeous. It's like, what? So much so that I actually want to print it and frame it and put it on the wall. If I can find it on my PC, I'll send it to you.
Memories.
It looks like you're starting to run out of wall space there.
Wall space, yeah.
Wait till this summer when I knock everything down. I think that window or one of these windows I'm taking out. So I think it's going to be this one, and it's just going to be a finished wall. I got too many windows in here. Like there's too many windows. I got to do something. I need more wall space.
Art space.
Art space. Well, my wife's going to need another. We're going to need another office. So I think I'm going to be enclosing the other side and doing the exact same thing on this side over there. It's just hers is going to be a lot nicer than mine. Of course.
What a gentleman.
Well, you got to, a lot of renovations happening this summer. A lot of stuff. I'm not looking forward to it at all. But the cool thing is I get to take all this stuff down. Like this, goes from here all the way up to the ceiling, and it's every single wall all the way around. And then I have a giant tub that's is filled with these, and they're more art prints. Like
need more of those.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 years of the characters character posters that was sold at Guardian Con, I have those. They're in there waiting to be framed. And like 24 more pieces that I bought from people in the community and other artists and stuff. And I just don't have enough wall. I need more frames too. AC Moore went out of business and I bought like 15 frames. I got a problem. I'm telling you guys right now. I got issues.
Soon your whole home will be covered.
Oh, I got
every wall.
You know what? There's very few pieces that my wife will let into the house. And they're the ones that she does. She literally came into my office and was like, I like this one. Takes it, and then it's hanging in the hallway somewhere. Or she'll come in, I'll come into the office and it'll be like, this is missing. It's like, okay, obviously something was right there. I go, where did that go? And I start looking through the house. It's like, boom. It's in the hallway, or it's in she's like, I thought it looked really good right there. And I like that piece, and I'm allowed to, and this and that. There was a servitor one that Mark Square made that's actually in our house, but it's really cool that, she rocks a Destiny hoodie and this and that. And she picks on me a little bit, but she loves having the opportunity to have so much, art and stuff like this. She's already named a few pieces that she wants to put in the house too. But anyways, that's my little tangent again. But thank you so much for doing that 60-second challenge. That was a blast. Fun. Before we close out and everything, is there any tips or suggestions that you would like to give any aspiring artists or people listening that might take something away?
It's hard to think of anything that, I don't know, hasn't already been said that you should just I think if you want to become a better artist, you're already 50% of the way there. It's just the drive. I truly believe that everyone is capable. It's just, it takes a lot of time and a lot of practice, and anyone can sort of, be an artist if they want to. So if you want to be an artist, just do it. You can do it. Just follow tutorials. Even if you don't follow tutorials, even if you just draw every day if you can, or set yourself a weekly goal. And even if it takes you all week to do it, it's all that matters is that you're trying. I think that's the most important thing.
Love it. That's a great advice and great tip right there. We had somebody in the past, I think it was David, who suggested drawing something 50 times. By the time you get to the 50th, you're going to see how much better it was than the first one.
Yeah, totally. And at the very least, you'll get quicker at it. It's it's just so good, to build those skills. A lot of it's also just, you don't have the muscle memory yet. For the fine motor skill for it yet. And that all comes with time. I remember when I first got into digital art that it took me forever to do the hand-eye coordination of drawing and looking at the screen. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. But that was a really big hurdle I had Wacom, and then almost didn't use it for a year. I would not in terms of doing line art or sketching. I would like scan in sketches and then color them in digitally when I was really young. But like, it's hard to build those skills. It's hard to be motivated when you feel like you can't do something, but it all just takes time, and you learn that the older you get, I think.
Nice. You heard her.
Yeah.
Draw, everyone, do it. You can.
Go home now and do it. If you are home, do it. No. Thank you again for coming on with us. It was such an honor and so awesome for you to come on. Where can people find you and more of your work?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitter only at AR_MCD or McD. It's a horrible Twitter handle. I apologize. Yeah, all my art's there. Yeah, that's pretty much, I think, the only location. That might change in the future or not. Check Twitter to find out.
Stay tuned.
Nice. Actually, 2 final questions before we go. And I always forget, and I always try and close out before we get to this. Ruby, do you want to say, because I saw you throw the thumbs up and you're like, Joe remembered.
Okay, so one of them is username. I don't know if that's just your name. At least the MC, the last 3 parts, if that means something.
It's my initials. It's not well thought out. So I won't say what my full name is, of course, but it's just my initials. The thing with the username was that it's my PSN handle. And I originally joined Twitter just to try and for LFG, essentially. Someone on the Destiny Sherpa Reddit said, like, oh, hit me up on Twitter if you want to run through the raid or something. And I mostly used it for that. And then it just sort of was happenstance that Bungie did the T-shirt competition in year 3 of Destiny 1. And I was like, you know what? That's a good project to get back into doing work for. And so it just kind of happened. Twitter kind of happened. I didn't expect any of this. So that's why, like, the Twitter handle is rubbish, because it really was just for LFG.
It looks cool.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that.
It does. I'll agree with that. How you described it, though, is like how all of us feel about our D1 Guardians, though. In like Destiny, it's like take that helmet off, and it's like, oh, what was I thinking? No, that's all. And the second question actually was, what do you listen to? Do you listen to anything while you're working on a piece or, a project? Is there any music that you like to listen?
I'm the sort of person who will listen to one song until I absolutely hate the song. And it depends on how long I listen. I've been listening to the League of Legends True Damage. Oh, God, what's it called? Heroes? No. Giants. True Damage Giants. From like the League of Legends. I don't even play League, but every year at Worlds, they did KDA last year, and they've done a new sort of thing this year. I've been listening to that song nonstop since it came out a couple months ago. So that's how I absorb music. I just listen to it to death. But otherwise, I listen to podcasts as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we close out too, and before we sign off, I did want to just take a second and bring some attention that the Destiny community has rallied together for a great cause that is a devastating tragedy that's happening in Australia right now, is the bushfires and everything that have been happening. And Destiny Down Under has actually started a Tiltify to help lead the charge for Guardians and people throughout the Destiny community to raise funds for the Australian Red Cross and to help those impacted by these devastating bushfires. They've beaten their goal twice already, but there's still so much that needs to be done, and it's amazing how much support Destiny community has gotten behind it, especially with Bungie, with the shirt and emblem and everything. So if you are not aware of how to donate, or if you would like to, in our chat right now, I just put the link to the Tiltify for the Destiny fans Australian Bushfire appeal, and in the show notes for this episode, you will also find a link at the bottom too. So I just wanted to bring that to attention.
That's awesome. I'll add to that is that this is undisclosed information, but I will be putting up traditional work as donation incentive come the Destiny Down Under early February. I believe they'll be doing a bit more of a big stream in relation to the charity. So keep an eye out for that. I'm excited to get back into traditional work and put up something of a bit of rarity, hopefully, and do my part, because it's my home state as well that is being affected by the bushfire. So it was pretty bad when I was there this Christmas. So, every bit helps.
Yes, absolutely. And keep an eye open for that. And with more information on that specific event and everything, keep us posted, and we'll share it and get the word out and support it as much as we possibly can too. With that being said, thank you so much, Ash, for coming on with us. I cannot thank you enough. Tyler had to leave real quick. Baby was waking up and needed a ba, and I know he said goodbye and everything. And
appreciate it.
Everybody has a good one. But Ash, thank you so much for
Thanks, guys. Thanks
waking
for
up so early and hanging out with us.
I had an amazing time. It was really fun.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys later. Have a great night. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.